A very elderly couple is having an elegant dinner to celebrate their 75th wedding anniversary. The old man leans forward and says softly to his wife, "Dear, there is something that I must ask you. It has always bothered me that our 10th child never quite looked like the rest of our children. Now, I want to assure you that these 75 years have been the most wonderful experience I could have ever hoped for. And your answer cannot take all that away. But I must know, did he have a different father?" The wife drops her head, unable to look her husband in the eye. She paused for a moment and then confessed, Yes, he did." The old man is very shaken. The reality of what his wife was admitting hit him harder than he had expected. With a tear in his eye, he asks, Who was he? Who was the father?" Again, the old woman drops her head, saying nothing at first as she tried to muster the courage to tell the truth to her husband. Then, finally, she says, "You." A nice, respectable lady with a savory smell of perfume got on the bus and took a seat beside me. After some moments, I dared to ask her, "Excuse me, lady, do you mind me please to ask you what is the name of this perfume and where did you buy it from? I want to buy one for my wife." The lady responded, "It is Chanel and from Paris." After about 10 minutes, I felt a strong wind in my belly, so I slowly blew it out. Some seconds later, she broke and said, "Oof, what is this smell, my God?" I said, "Garlic and from Gilroy City in California." One morning when I was going out of the house, I met my neighbor's daughter who was pregnant. When I returned home, I saw her father closing the door. I told him, "Your daughter hasn't married yet. I wonder how it is possible a girl without any husband be pregnant." For a moment, her father, with a bitter smile, said, "She isn't pregnant. It is all wind in her belly. She farts and would recover." Next year, I saw the same girl with a baby in her arms. Next day, when I was going out facing her father, so I told him, "I saw your daughter with her fart in her arms." A teacher asks her class, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Little Johnny says, "I wanna be a billionaire, going to the most expensive clubs, take the best with me, give her a Ferrari worth over $1 million, an apartment in Hawaii, a mansion in Paris, a jet to travel through Europe, an infinite Visa card, and to make love to her 3 times a day." The teacher, shocked and not knowing what to do with the bad behavior of the child, decides not to give importance to what he said and then continues the lesson. "And you, Susie?" the teacher asks. Susie says, I wanna be Johnny's bitch. One day, at the end of class, little Johnny's teacher asks the class to go home and think of a story to be concluded with the moral of that story. The following day, the teacher asks for the first volunteer to tell their story. Little Susie raises her hand. My dad owns a farm, and every Sunday we load the chicken eggs on the truck and drive into town to sell them at the market. Well, one Sunday we hit a big bump and all the eggs flew out the basket and onto the road. When the teacher asked for the moral of a story, Susie replied, Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. My dad owns a farm too. Little Lucy Every weekend, we take the chicken eggs and put them into the incubator. Last weekend, only 8 of the 12 eggs hatched. Again, the teacher asked for the moral of the story. Lucy replied, Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Next up was little Johnny. My Uncle Ted fought in the Vietnam War and his plane was shot down over enemy territory. He jumped out before it crashed but could only take a case of beer, a machine gun, and a machete. On the way down, he drank the case of beer. Then he landed right in the middle of 100 Vietnamese soldiers. He shot 70 with his machine gun, but then he ran out of the bullets. So he pulled out his machete and killed 20 more. Then the blade on his machete broke, so he killed the last 10 with his bare hands. The teacher looked a little shocked. After clearing her throat, she asked what possible moral there could be to the story. Well, Johnny replied, Don't fuck with Uncle Ted when he's been drinking.